Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time for you reviewing our hackathon submission. My name is Vidor. I'm from the VG&G team. I'd like to apologize upfront if I'll be doing some coughing. I'm kind of sick, so bear with me. This is our presentation, which will at the end also include a real life demo. The application we've actually built is live, and we'll also provide links and quick guides how you can start using it. So who we actually are. We're a team of professionals that most of our common background is not actually from academia or something like that. We're mostly friends that have been working together since mid 2000s, and playing games basically. We just evolved and started building in the blockchain space, and we really specialize in innovative projects that require like high skills or R&D teams. We really like and enjoy researching, adapting, and implementing products based on bleeding edge technology in a very fast time, and that's what we usually do. We've been in the Solana space for a while, and we've seen this opportunity for this hackathon, which started to be like really appealing for us, and we decided to enroll. Obviously, us being us, we knew that we want to make something really good and really commit to this. So what we basically did is left everything else to the side and totally focused for 2 weeks on Solrise, the product that we design and build. So Solrise Finance is basically a decentralized, non-custodial, trustless asset management trading protocol that allows two types of users: fund managers and fund investors. Fund managers are able to create investment funds. Then in that investment fund, they can deposit their initial funds so they can start trading. They can choose assets between which they want to trade, so they can achieve the best performance for their investment fund, and thus to show other investors how good they are at trading and managing assets, and maybe attract their investment as well. And that is what fund investors can do. They can inspect performance of investment funds by different parameters, by the manager name, by the overall performance, by the asset portfolio that they're trading with, and basically their earnings. Something like this is a pretty straightforward idea, but we've been in the Solana ecosystem for a while, and we think that only recently have all the pieces fallen together, and we've identified that all these different pieces we could put together and form this product. So first of all, we definitely needed, and this Solana had from early on, a standardized SPL token infrastructure, different price discovery mechanisms, as Oracle potentially even trying to obtain prices from the DEX or swap on chain. Oracles are something that came really recently, and we've utilized them greatly in our project. The asset exchange mechanisms, DEX and swap, wallet adapters for connecting and signing transactions, front-end libraries, extremely cheap transactions, and insane speed. In ideas like this, a big amount of calculation computation needs to be done, and on other chains this is something that gets really expensive real fast and doesn't really scale. We tried to prove the concept on Solana, and it worked seamlessly, and we're really happy with the outcome. Let me try to explain it in a bit more detail. The whole Solrise system revolves around the concept of a fund, an investment fund. An investment fund is basically an account that gets initialized by the Solrise program. It has the owner of the fund mint. So the fund mint is a new SPL token basically that represents shares of the given fund. we have the PDA or a program derived account within that fund that is able to control all these assets and trade them and control those accounts basically, as well as mint and burn the fund tokens, the fund shares. There's something called the controller as well. So every fund has a pointer to the controller account, and the controller account basically contains a map which maps each mint into an appropriate oracle or aggregator, which returns the price of that asset, thus being able to calculate the total fund value. The exposed fund functions are deposit. Deposit is something when you buy into the fund. So you need to deposit a stable coin. In our case, we call this USDC. And with that USDC, by depositing USDC, you get some fund shares. Then that USDC that you gave gets deposited into the USDC account of the investment fund. By withdrawing, you give back some of the fund tokens that you have, and based on the proportion, the fund accounts that you tokens that you gave back versus the total supply of the fund mint, from that proportion you get each asset's partial balance back into your account. And these two can be called by anyone, any investor or manager. The functions that can be only controlled by the fund manager are add asset, remove asset, which are pretty straightforward, and exchange. Exchange is basically when you say to your fund, hey, okay, I want to change some USDC that someone's deposited into some SOL, for example. And I'll explain what mechanisms we use for exchanging. This is the high level explanation of a fund and all the other accounts it interacts with. This is a bit of a higher level diagram of the Solrise system in general. It consists of the program on the Solana blockchain, a backend and the front end. The program on the Solana blockchain utilizes the SPL token program for creating mints, transferring tokens, approving, transferring, etc. It uses different price discovery mechanisms. So currently, we use only one price discovery mechanism, and that is through the modified Chainlink Oracle or Flux aggregator that was recently developed. We've also modified that code base, and we've implemented CoinGecko feeds. CoinGecko, we've identified that they have a big amount of free requests and support much more cryptocurrencies, and then we utilized that and created oracles for all of these assets, basically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, XRP, Sol, FTT, Serum, and Sushi. That allowed us to do that. For asset exchanging, we currently, this is basically an extendable a point of extension. What we currently implemented is the standard token swap, which is operated by Serum currently. We deployed everything on the testnet, so we deployed some of our own pairs with some custom prices, but we use the token swap contract. In the future implementations, this can also implement some sort of token lending or the Serum DEX. Our backend is a pure Node.js plus Express application using MongoDB for storage, and our front end uses the Sol wallet adapter and uses React. That's basically our tech stack. So I think we can show the demo right now. I said that we deployed our own mints, we deployed our own pools, they have their own addresses, their own constant product curves. I kind of have this table where saying what prices we targeted and what are our current market prices. So our swap is targeting the USDC BTC swap is targeting 40,000, while the current realistic market price, which is going to be fed into the Oracle, into the aggregator, is around 49,000 right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Solid. I'm just gonna create a wallet, go to testnet, request an airdrop, and I've done that. So we can take a quick look at our landing page. Investments made easy, decentralized fund management, and investment protocol on Solana, the fastest blockchain to date. Some explanation why would you use this, why for fund managers, for investors, the tokens we currently support, and the team, a bit of our company, and I think we put in a joke in here about the timeline that we learned Rust for a year and then built a time machine on day 366, went back to day 3 and proceeded with the build. Unfortunately, at the start of the second week, I got coronavirus, which made things a lot harder. So we needed to recruit a bit more front-end help, but everything worked out at the end, and we're all satisfied with the result. So let's get started. First, what I can see is a list of funds that people have already created. When I say people, I really mean us testing. When I can click for example, seeing like my cool fund, and I can see how it has like a pretty bad performance. We can see that the token distribution between assets has changed. So it was USDC 100%, and it went into Ethereum 15%, and then so and so. At the end, it like went 3760 into Ethereum. We can see the list of investors in each fund, and what will very soon be possible is to actually show the deposits and exits from the fund. So let's not take this any longer. Click connect. Let's create our own investment fund. Our own investment fund. I'm Vidar and we invest risky. I can choose what assets initially I want to add. So USDC as a stable asset is default and is always the first one. Let's choose Solana for start because this is a pretty big transaction. So we can add others later. Confirm, let's do that. I'll approve the transaction. Okay, there's our fund. What we need to do is we need to deposit some dollars first so we can have some capital to trade with. So let's do that right now. Obviously, I just created a new wallet. I don't have any, but because this is a testnet, we have this request airdrop. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna create a USDC account for us and give us some USDC to play with. Let's wait for it to populate. There it is. Okay, let's say that we want to fund our pool with $5,000. Let's do that. Yeah, approve. And let's wait for the changes to propagate. So that was pretty fast. You see there are some changes in the interface. Currently, since we have funds to trade with, we can see the trade interface. We can see the edit button and the list of assets that we currently support, the list of investors, which I'm the current investor, and the description and name, creation date, so and so. So while we're here, we said that I want to add some more assets. So let's do that. Let's add something like Bitcoin, because I'm looking here and seeing that that's something that if you could buy in at 40 and get evaluated at 48, that's something that's going to give a profit, which is nice for the demo. Let's also do link and FTT. Maybe sushi as well. Oh, we can add only 3 per transaction. Let's do that. Oh, I need to approve the transaction, right? It's going to be pretty fast. There it is. You've probably seen that the token distribution is taking shape. So we can see that 100% of my assets are in USDC, 0 in Solana. And when an additional sync process happens, we'll see all the other assets. So at this point, the token value was 0. And at most recent points, the total value of the fund is 5,000 because it has $5,000, and the token value is 1. So the token value basically represents the total fund value divided by the amount of shares, by the amount of pool tokens that were generated. It's created by a mathematical formula that you always buy in at the current price of the fund. So if initially I put in $5,000 and got 5,000 pool tokens, if my pool performance doubles, someone else would get less tokens if they invest after that, because I already have a track record. So let's see, let's do some trading. Let's move some USDC into Bitcoin. Maybe 1,500. Approve the transaction. And the change is gonna be pretty instant. Now we can see we move 1,500 into Bitcoin, and because of the difference of the market price and the swap price, our Bitcoin holding value is currently 1,700, which immediately gave us a total performance of 4.68 plus 4.68. Basically means we made $200 on our investment already. Let's do some other trades. For example, into Link, 1,500 more. Let's do Solana as well, maybe 1,000. So if I open Solid, I will see two things here. So although the mints aren't really represented here, we can see that the USDC mint is 8AV, which is basically this account. That's my USDC account that was airdropped to me. And this other account that was created, this is the account actually representing the mint from that fund. So, okay, what we can do now is let's try to exit this fund. So I'll go into, but before we do that, let's see some other funds or what we can do with other funds. So let's see, we can see that Andre performed pretty good. He went into Bitcoin all in. Bitcoin's like got a nice price now. So let's say that I trust Andre, and from this I've determined that he's a good fund manager. I'll give him some of my money to manage. So I'll just click invest. I'll use this. I'll give him $2,000. Yes. I need to approve the transaction. The deposit is success. In a second I should, this is probably me. I currently own 3% of Andre's fund. Let's hope that my money is safe with him. And in a short bit, it needs a bit time to refresh. It will show up within my investments. There it is. So my investments are basically all the funds that I have any share in. So our own investment fund is which we previously created, and we have 100% shares, and now we have 3% in Andres. Let's say that we're satisfied with the $500 we made, and that we want to partially exit the pool, the fund. So what we'll do, we'll just click withdraw. So in the withdraw process, what actually happens is we give back some of the fund tokens, and we get a proportional amount of all other assets. So let's say we want to give back 1,000 fund tokens. We need to choose all the accounts, and if we don't have an account, we need to create an account for each asset that we would get. So create manually, and create manually. This all works seamlessly. There it is. And now we can see that all these accounts now have been created, and they're empty, 0, 0, 0, 0. And when I click withdraw, it actually says that based on the 1,000 that I'm withdrawing, I'll get 200 USDC, 9.96 SOL, 0.007 BTC, 14 Link, and 0 FTT because we didn't invest into FTT right now. I click withdraw, I approve, and success. Now we can see that all these balances are filled in, and we got our proportional value by exiting the fund. We returned the fund tokens back to the fund, and then they were burned. Let's see. So we can see the total performance, and that's it. I've talked about explore funds, manage funds, and my investments, and I think that's pretty much in terms of the demo. You can try it on app.solrise.finance. It's open to everyone. Let's get back to the presentation, try to wrap it up quickly. We built this in 2 weeks. I said I got the corona after the first week. It was really hard. We recruited more help. Natalia was a great help in helping us with the front end. Zla did an awesome job on the front end. Andre and myself have done all the work regarding the backend and the Rust contracts. Alex helped us a lot with the design. First part of the first week, we all tried to understand the idea, what we want to build, started building the wireframes, started building and learning Rust, and then it just went straight from there. It was a pretty clean execution. In terms of the future features of how we see Solrise evolving, is that we can implement other exchange mechanisms that I talked about. So maybe implement some DEX functionalities or borrowing functionalities, any functionality that allows switching from one asset to another asset, maybe some sort of borrowing as well. This is a proof of concept, and we didn't want to burden the users with different fee structures for managers and so. But that's definitely this is definitely something where people would use their own time to manage funds, and they would need to get a cut basically. So we would need to introduce some sort of incentives for the fund managers themselves. There's another interesting idea that can be thrown around, is that we can extend asset types to not only support normal SPL tokens like wrapped Ether, wrapped Bitcoin, but also to support shares of other funds. And this would effectively enable creating funds that consist of only other funds, effectively totally hedging the risk of any investment. That's it. I hope this didn't last too long. We're available for any questions that you might have. And as I said, app.solrise.finance is open. Everyone can test it. And thank you for your time.